Shalom. All right. Shalom, True Royal. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
It's so many things have happened this morning that I got to tell you. You're going to get a good laugh out of it.
Okay.
Well, I've been going to the door looking out so much today. My husband looked at me and said, "How many goddamn times you going to go to that door? Because I'm looking for your package." He's like, I was like, "Oh, shut up."
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
I've been looking and looking, and so far it's not here. So I will definitely let you know
Did
when
you
it's
did
here.
you you get that tracking number?
Yes,
Okay.
it still says it's going to arrive today. So I'll
Okay.
just keep looking. I don't want it to be out there too long.
Yeah, I'm so upset with them. I'm
No,
I'm get I'm getting them.
get your refund, girl.
Oh yeah,
Get your refund because they didn't deliver when they claimed they would.
yeah.
Oh,
Amari.
oh! I got something else. I'm gonna let everybody else know this, y'all. My husband has a brother, and he and I have not really been close over the years, only because of some of the things he said. Well, one thing he said, y'all, he felt that I was difficult. I want you to hear, he said I was difficult. Well, his wife left him. Guess what she said? She said he was too difficult, along with other things that I have
Mhm.
later found out. He was too difficult, and she got tired of getting cheated on. See, that was the part he didn't tell us. We found that out from other family members.
Oh, it's all coming out.
Yeah, juicy girl,
Oh, that's real juicy. That's what I was about to
right?
say. That's juicy. The family will tell it.
Yes,
Woo.
they will. Yes, they will. So
Oh my goodness.
let's just put it this way: my difficult ass and my man are still together. Yeah, that's what's going on with my difficult ass.
How long you been
So
there? How long
it
you been
is.
married?
We got married in '84.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's when I got married. I got married in '84.
Shh, I was still in high
I was
school.
still I was still a baby practically.
I was I
I
was still
was
in high
I was
school. Damn.
yeah, I was still a baby practically. I'm serious. I was young. I didn't have a lot of life experience, but it's things I had to learn along the way,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and it's been a long journey.
So it didn't came off. Do he know y'all know everything now?
His brother, no, because we only found out from him that they broke up. And like I told you, I think they broke up last year. I think he's just getting around to telling us this year.
I love family shit like this.
Yeah, but I think she left last year. I really do. I don't think
Ooh.
she was around at all this entire year.
And he been sitting there quiet, real quiet.
Yeah. And she and I actually get along a little better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she went back home to South Carolina because that's where she comes out of. She comes
Mm-hmm.
out of South Carolina.
Do they have any children?
Yeah, they have two children.
Mm.
And the children already told him, and we found this out too. The children told him that they were going to be with his mother. They said, if we have to decide between you and mom, we side with mom. I already
Ooh.
let him know.
Y'all got the 411.
Hmm. Yeah,
Wow.
I
And
know.
he was talking bad about you. He's sitting up in the house by himself, quiet. He ain't even
I don't know. I
how
don't
you
know.
how you hide that kind of shit? It's gonna come
I
out
guess just
eventually.
I guess just by not talking to people a lot.
Yeah, and then you just,
I think that's how he pulled it off all this time without us knowing.
well, coronavirus, you can hide a lot of stuff too now.
Yeah, this
Everybody,
is true.
they blame everything on coronavirus now. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
that's true, right? They sure
Uh-huh.
do.
Yeah.
But hey, shit happens. I mean, seriously, y'all, shit happens.
You got the
You know,
juiciness.
and shoot, the sometimes the things that you talk on other people will come back and haunt you.
Sure will.
That's the lesson I see in that.
Mm-hmm. Sure will.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's cool. I tell you what, he was a lot nicer on the phone. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, people said, Lisa, my wedding anniversary is September
September.
the 16th.
Six, oh,
38
okay. 38
married 38 years. Woo!
No, we got married in December. I got
Woo.
married December 21st. And the reason why we were actually supposed to get married the month before, and we ended up changing the date because his mother went into the hospital close to that time, so we just ended up pushing it out because she didn't want to miss it.
Mhm.
So we pushed it back a month.
Mhm.
That's how, that's what we did.
Mhm.
And his mother back then had a lot of health problems.
Wow.
She had high blood pressure, she had diabetes, and she was in and out of the hospital, in and out. And she didn't realize it was that lousy diet she was on.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say.
Pork and everything. Yeah, she was all into the bacon and pork. And even when I used to go over there when we were dating, she was like, "Yo, you want some eggs and bacon?" I'm like, "No."
No.
Yeah. So it had a lot to do with her diet, but she
Yeah.
was a sweet woman. She really was.
Mhm.
He had he had an aunt that lived. I know y'all don't hear us talking like this. True Royal and I talk a lot like this behind the scenes. Y'all just getting a taste of this. He had an aunt, and unfortunately, she had a drug problem, and she was in and out of jail because of her drug problem.
Wow.
And what happened was, one week, I will never forget this. One weekend, we were going to see her. She was at a halfway house in New Jersey, but it was like a distance away from where we were. That morning, when he came to pick me up, Queen, we got into an argument. And he said, "I bet I could beat your ass all the way down there," right? And back then I had a Chevy Nova Super Sport. It's a used car that my father bought for me. Trust me, he wasn't trusting me with no spanking new car, but I could drive the clunker, right? I was good enough. So I had the big mag wheels on it. And back then he had a Buick Apollo. That's what he was driving. He said, "You can't beat me down there." I said, "I will kick your ass all the way down there." We were going to a place called Paulsboro. So we got in the car. Y'all, we hauled ass all down a highway called 295. He couldn't keep up with me. I was hauling. He couldn't keep up with me. As soon as we got to his, I had literally had to sit out front of the house and wait for him to pull up. I mean, that's how I ran him. I ran him all the way down there, right? I had a Chevy Nova Super Sport with a 351 engine. Okay. There were times, let me tell y'all, when I would get that car repaired, these white guys that would be working on my car be offering to buy the car. They didn't care about the car. They wanted that engine. They wanted that engine inside.
Fast. Yeah.
Literally, that is a race car engine that I had in there. So when I got there, I pulled in front of the house, and I had to sit and wait because, I knew his aunt, but I didn't know her real well, so I was like, I'll just wait for him. That way we'll go up to the door together. As soon as he pulled up, he jumped out the car and said, "Pull." He said, "Open that hood. I want to see what you got in there." So I popped the hood. He was like, "Damn, what kind of engine is that?" I said, "Hey." I said, "See, next time, don't try to challenge a bitch, okay?"
Oh
but it was like, his aunt really was a nice woman. When she was not on drugs, this woman was awesome. But she just couldn't stay away from drugs. She just couldn't do it. But when she wasn't on drugs, she would have been the sweetest person you ever met in your life. She really was a sweetheart.
Somebody got timed out and deleted.
Wow.
Call Lisa's husband Boulay.
I ain't Boulay. He ain't Boulay.
Oh, Lord.
No, he's not. No, he's definitely not Boulay.
Oh, no. That's a nerve sitting up here.
He come out of the hood just like me. We just came out of two different hoods. That's all. But he grew up in the hood just like I did.
Yeah.
We're hood. The only one that ain't hood is my son. My son ain't hood. He was born in the suburbs. He ain't
Mhm.
hood. But
Yeah, that's a
he'll tell you he's hood because he said he inherited hood from his mom and
yeah,
dad.
that's what I've always said. Me and Amari, we didn't come out the hood,
Uh-huh.
but trust and believe it was hood in the house.
Yeah, yeah.
But nothing
No,
changed.
the Chevy Big B, the Chevy Nova Super Sport is a car that my father actually came across when he was driving home from work. He saw
Mhm.
the car and he was like, wow, I think that was it was a good starter car for me. So he said he went at the light, he popped a U-turn and went back to the dealership to find out about the car because he said he thought it was perfect. It was a white car with a burgundy rag top.
Mm.
And it was a Chevy Nova Super Sport, and it had the big giant mag wheels on it and everything.
I've had that. I've had two Novas. My first
Uh-huh.
car was a Nova.
It
Those are
was a
some
Nova.
very reliable vehicles.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, and True Royal, you'll get a laugh out of this. You know, when I knew my car was gone,
What?
I was sitting. I drove that morning. In fact, I was on my way to the store, and I was going to the store just to get a few items my mother had told me to get because I was still living at home, with my parents at that time. So I get to the red light. I see all this smoke. My dumb ass thought it was smoke from somebody else's car. The shit was coming from my car.
Oh Lord.
The master cylinder went at that very moment.
Oh wow.
Master cylinder went in the car.
Wow.
So I was able to make it home, but it was smoking all the way there. And my dad looked at it, and he had a mechanic friend of his look at it, and he said, "Just let the car go."
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what they
How
told
long
me.
did you have it?
I drove that car for, oh, I would say it was probably close to 5 years.
Hmm.
Close to 5 years I
Yeah, you
drove
got a
it.
good run out of it. Hmm.
Yeah, and look, I didn't even get it new. I did not get that car brand new. By the time I got that car was over 10 years old. By the time I got it. But my dad said, he did not want me to. He said I was not quite ready for a new car, but I could get all the practice I need. So by the time I got finished that, I would be ready for a new car.
Hmm.
So that's how he felt. He didn't want me to have a car payment, and I was just 17 years old with a car payment. He didn't want me to have that.
Yeah, that's a lot of responsibility. Hmm.
Yeah, and I was not a responsible person at 17. I'm being real. I was not responsible at 17.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
No, not at that age, but it was a fun car though. I can't deny it. It was
Mhm.
fun. A lot of fun.
Mm.
Yes, yes, Michael, it was, but the car was not. It was starting to shake a lot more when I drove. You know how when you start in old cars, when you start trying to accelerate and take the car up to a higher speed, it starts shaking real hard and doing things like that. And
Mm.
my dad was like, "Yeah, it's time for you to get something else."
Mm.
And believe it or not, when I got my first car, my father gave me the down payment.
Mhm.
That's the kind of person, boy, I miss him.
Mm.
You know how you just some days think about the things your father did for you, and then you're like,
Mhm.
wow, I really miss him.
Yeah, I was thinking, yeah, because my father passed on the 9th of this month. It's
Uh-huh.
been what 12 years since he passed. Wait, that's like knocking the air out of someone. Whoa.
Yeah, yeah. My mother died September 29th, 2010. And my
Mm.
dad died in 2008. That's when he passed on. And yeah, sometimes I'll look. In fact, Queen, I got his medical records.
Mhm.
I had requested that from the doctor, and they gave me the whole thing. It's a thick, thick file. And every now and then I'll come across it, and I'll just remember the times I was taking him back and forth to the hospital. Especially when he got hit with the cancer and everything.
Mhm.
It just brings back so many memories. Good
Yeah.
memories, though. Except for
Mhm.
the end of his life, but everything else were good memories. I remember when I think I was in elementary school, the first grade. We went to Atlantic City and got in the ocean.
Wow.
And my dad, I was scared. My dad picked me up and took me in the ocean with him. He was like, "You can't be scared."
Mm,
And I remember getting in that water. It
mm,
was crazy.
mm.
It was crazy, but
I
we
love
went
those
in the
type of
water
memories.
together. Yeah,
Hmm.
and my
Wow.
dad went on rides with me. He was the kind of fun kind of guy when we went places. And your dad sounded like he was like that too.
Yeah, but people were fooled by my dad because my dad was very stern.
Hmm.
So people thought he was mean. And my dad, it all came out after I had started having children.
Hmm.
He would like to go to those ice cup space shows. So
Oh, he liked that, huh?
but he was using my daughters as a buffer, and he loved going to them shows and stuff.
Hmm.
And if you would brown this man and look at him, you would be thinking the ice capade shows.
Yeah. You
That's
know
not
what my dad used to like, and we went several times. We went to see do y'all remember the Harlem Globetrotters?
oh
Geese
see,
and Curly and
I wouldn't seen them.
uh-huh. Geese and Curly and all of them.
Hmm.
Well, anyway, we used to go as children whenever they would come to Philadelphia. We would
Hmm.
go see them all the time. It was a lot of fun. I didn't tell y'all that Geese tried to hit on me.
Wow.
I was way younger than that man, but yeah, he actually I met him, and when we met, Geese tried to hit on my ass.
Hmm.
I was like, "What?"
Wow.
I said, "No, I ain't ready for no man as grown as you." Damn, but that
Dang,
was
Anthony
funny.
Bates. You said my father gave up the ghost when I was 7,
7,
and
wow,
my mom when she was 72. I
72.
miss him, but oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I still do. Some days I still can hear my mom talking to me. I know this may sound weird, but I do. Just some of the conversations we would have, and every now and then I can hear her voice. It's almost like she is, I can just hear her
You know,
calling.
I could my grandmother on my father's side, one day I was walking down the street and I could smell the perfume she um would wear. And
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. I said, I'm smelling my grandmother. I was like,
Mhm.
what's going on? I said, tell somebody, they may think I'm nuts, but
Yeah.
I smelled that. It
But
was real.
you always remember, because I got my mom's phone book, so I'll look at her handwriting and everything. My mom has some really nice handwriting.
Hmm.
And so I would, just look in her old phone book. I mean, most of the numbers in there aren't even any good, but I just can't part with it, because that's a part of her. And that was something she always wrote in and wrote little notes in and stuff. So
Hmm.
I can't part with it. I told True Royal, I still got the last voicemail my father left me. I can't get rid of it. I won't get rid of it.
Hmm.
I can still hear his voice and him telling me to call him back.
The biggest thing I miss, Lisa, is picking up my grandparents because they was old school and to go pay their bills, and
Mhm.
them fighting in the car
Mhm.
all the way there and all the way back
Mhm.
and talking about
But
you
you
don't
know what
tell
the
me what
funny
to do.
part is? Well, you want to know what the funny part is? Couples that do that,
Mhm.
they end up loving each other so much, and you be like, "Damn, y'all fight all the time," but they
Mhm.
love each other so much, though.
Yeah. You don't
All
tell
that
me.
fighting.
You don't tell me what to do. I do what the
Uh-huh.
hell I want. Drive over here. Go over there. I was caught up in the mix. There wasn't nothing I
Mhm.
could say.
And they fight hard and love hard. I've
Hmm.
seen people like that before.
Yeah, because when
They do.
my grandfather was the first to pass, and my grandmother was just you could see it all over her. She was so hurt, and
Mhm.
I said to my mother, "Mama not gonna be here long,"
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
Anita said her father passed away May 26, 1991. Her mother, May 22nd, 2000. Oh, wow. Your mother just died recently. May
Wow.
22nd, 2021. Yeah, she just died recently.
Yeah. Also, yeah. Your mother.
Lakeisha Bridges, my mother died 26 years ago, September 9th. Wow,
Mhm.
1995. And
Mhm.
I still haven't gotten over it. You know what, Lakeisha, I know this may sound weird. I never want to fully get over the hurt that I feel for my parents. I don't. I mean, because it just helps me remember them even better. You know, I have some friends, and one of my friends, her mother died when she was, I think she was about 8 or 9 years old. And I remember one day we were talking, and she said, I can hardly remember what my mother looked like. I was like, really? I said, even with pitch, she said, yeah, but I just can't hardly remember. I don't want to be like that. I want to remember, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you on that.
You know, I don't want the pain to 100% go away.
Wow, look at that. My godson died 9/9/99.
Wow.
Wow. And
Oh,
he
that
and
is
he
deep. He was 9?
and he was
Whoa.
9. That
Oh,
wow.
man. That
That's
is, oh,
amazing.
R. Bailey. Wow. That is something.
Mm,
That is something.
mm.
You know, when I was a child, my mother had, well, they were my family too, cousins. They were identical twins, these women, elderly identical twins. You know, they died the same day. They were born the same day, came in the world the same day, and they died the same
I'm
day.
not surprised.
What happened was one twin got hospitalized, the other one did not. But after she heard the news that her twin sister died, that night she died.
Mm,
That night she died. So when
mm.
we went to the funeral, you saw them side by side. They looked exactly alike. And my mother was saying, these are our cousins. But see, they were way older than me. I was still a little girl. That was the first funeral I ever went to. I saw the twins side by side in coffins.
Wow. Wow.
And they were beautiful. They both had a mix of silver and black hair, and they were dark-skinned twin sisters. They were beautiful. I thought they were so beautiful, even in their old age, you know, they really were. But my mother was like, these are your cousins. These are your cousins. And I'm like, really?
One could not live without the other. They just
I guess they just couldn't.
miserable.
Mm-hmm. And it was hard because they both at what, because my mother was telling me at one time they were both married, and but they always lived close to each other. When their husbands died, they decided to move in together. So they were living together and helping each other out.
Mm-hmm.
And just one twin was sick, and the other one was a little healthier.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they went out. They came in the world together and they left together.
Well, Amari told me yesterday, his youngest twin didn't move right back in again with her sister. They can't stay away from each other. One is married with 2 children, and they'll fall out hard. And she didn't move right back in. They can't stay away from each other.
Sometimes that's the way it is, Queen. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was growing up, my brother and I didn't get along that great, you know. But now that we're both adults, we get along great. I guess we just had to grow and mature, I guess.
Yeah.
But as children, we fought a lot. But as adults, we get along great. You know,
it's just incredible to be around something like that. They can't stay away. And Amari told me immediately, they're gonna come to you and tell you about their issues with each other. Don't say nothing.
Yeah.
Don't say nothing. Because he said they'll turn on you and start defending each other.
Yeah, that's what that's why it's best to always stay out of it. Believe it or not, that's how we were. My brother and I, we didn't get along, but if somebody was talking about one of us, we had an issue with you. It was like, yeah, I mean, it's weird. Family, we're just strange. I mean, seriously.
Lisa just has a brother, and I'm an only child. Somebody was asking how many siblings you had.
Yeah, I have an older brother. I'm actually the baby in the family. My brother's older than me.
They couldn't make no more like me. They was like, that's just it. I was enough.
Well, you know, I think around when we were born, I think that's when families start having less children anyway. Because if you remember, like back in your father's time and my parents' time and your mother, people were having a lot of children. You'd see family with 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 children. And I think by the time that generation start having their children, they just start having less. You know, my mother told me she did not want a lot of children because when my mother was out of 10 children, she was the fifth child. And she said, Lisa, I never had anything new. I always had to have what was passed down from her sisters before her. And she said she just didn't want her children to always have hand-me-downs, and she was like, if I have two, then I can give a lot to you.
Yes.
So that's what she wanted. But yeah, she said she didn't like that. Sometimes she wanted new things, new shoes, new skirts, and stuff like that. But my grandmother couldn't always afford it. So whatever her older sisters got, that's what she ended up with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough having a lot of babies.
Yes, it is.
It's real talk last. You said 'twas 6 of us. My eldest brother died in 2019 after my dad and mom. Oh, okay. Yeah, sometimes that's what happened. Look, my mom and dad died 2 years apart. My father 2008, my mother in 2010. So it was quick. It just seems like I lost one, and then in a snap of a finger, I lost my other parent. That's how it felt. That's how it felt.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
And when they go, you feel like you didn't have them long enough.
Yeah,
how I always felt.
I can't stop thinking about them.
Yeah, no, that's normal. That's normal. Yeah. I remember so many things. Boy, I got some stories I could tell y'all. I keep you on here all day, but I'm not going to do that. So we're going to get to Larry Elder. Yeah. Yeah. Larry Elder, not long ago. This came out the 8th of September, 2021. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with y'all. And Larry said, actually, Black people had better lives during slavery. I don't know anybody that would agree with him, but this is what he said. All right. Can everybody see my screen? Please go ahead and give me a 1 if you can see the screen. But we're going to talk about what this man said. And, this is just more proof that Larry Elder is not suited to be nothing more than what he is, a talk show host.
Well,
and really, that's it. And he's really not suitable for that. But you know what, Queen? I wanted to ask you, do you notice how when Larry Elder and Candace in particular, you ever notice when they quote history, they always half-ass the history. They never tell you the full story of history. They just tell it in a way that benefits them.
Yeah, very distorted. They're very distorted, half-ass with it. And they're doing this on purpose. And something that just struck me, the outlandish statements. Now, wait. Freeze for just a second.
Okay.
Ever since I did the research, and now I know that's a dope fiend, I look at him totally different.
Yeah, he even looks high in this picture, don't he?
This dude is constantly high.
And don't he look high in this picture too?
Yes, it changed everything. Because remember, I kept saying for years, this dude, he got parasites in his brain. And I never put the connection that he was a dope fiend. And usually I know. Yeah. This one, I didn't, that didn't come across my radar. And that dude ain't just on no weed. He stay high. Even in that incident when them people was throwing stuff at him and stuff. If y'all go back and watch that footage, he was high when he was walking down the street because they had to redirect him
into the SUV. Yes, I saw that.
He was high in that fool make all them crazy statements. He know that shit he's saying is crazy. And
plus, y'all, Candace and Larry Elder type, they're looking for constant ratings. They're looking for constant attention. That's what they're looking at. And that, see, these crazy statements is how they grow their audience. I'm serious. This is how they grow their audience. Because if you make a crazy statement like this, then quite naturally, people are going to be like, let me see what this dude is all about, you know? And then he grows his audience. But look, Larry Elder gets attention for two different reasons. The black people, the black community have a lot of disdain for him because of the things he say. And he gets all of the media attention because white people like the way he talks about his own community. So as long as he keeps talking like this, yeah, Fox News is going to have him on, and he's going to be on his radio show, and he's going to be doing all the rounds that he do are on right-leaning type media. That's who will have him on. You know,
this is something that I have observed and noticed, and you'll know where I'm coming from. This, what I'm about to say. There is a dilemma that these coons run into that make these outlandish statements. And the dilemma that they run into, the very people that they're feeding this into, and they loving that they're trashing the black community over time, because they are creating a negative energy over time. Somebody's going to challenge them on making outlandish comments. When they call him the Black Trump, he can't do what Trump do.
No, and he doesn't.
He can't get away with what Trump get away with.
No
stuff. So they grow. It happens every time. They grow tired of your coon ass. They get what they want to get from you in this war, and then after that they discard you. But see, none of and it always happens in their face. And what they'll do, they will just keep, it's like you're not a part of the in crowd no more, and then they'll get more and more outlandish. Then all of a sudden they get dejected and hurt, and then all of a sudden there's racism, and they just get all crazy with it. And that's something that they run into that every time.
Yeah,
that's something I see.
They sure do. And also once they get discarded, you never see them again. Remember Paris Denard? They didn't never give him a second chance to come back. Once they discard you, they discard you. They just do. And yeah, I mean, look, it didn't take much. Look at how they're turning on Herschel Walker with his mental health pass. Because they don't want him. That's why all of that stuff is being brought up. They don't want him. So that is the GOP trying to sabotage his campaign.
And he gonna be too dumb enough to even know the very people standing shoulder to shoulder with him is putting his business in the street. He gonna blame the black community. That's what he gonna do and stuff. And the fool don't think you ain't even around the black community, so why would you blame us for them putting your dirty laundry in the streets?
Right. Right. Yeah, they will soon find out who their real enemy is. I think they don't see it right now.
Don't want to see it.
Sure don't.
You got some diehards out there. You got some of them. Herschel is one of them. He'll die like that. Sure will.
Okay. So Larry Elders was on Fox and Friends, ladies and gentlemen, and he made a statement saying that Black Americans, our lives were better during slavery. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, is this dude for real? Seriously, he's for real. Who the hell would believe being on a plantation, living in a damn shack, and working for no money is a better life for Black Americans?
Okay.
I mean, it is outrageous for a Black man to even form his lips to say some mess like this.
Well, then I got a challenge for him, Lisa. Since we had better lives back then, and he wants to be the poster child, then he needs to live that life.
Yeah, go live on Sean Hannity's property and slave around for him, and tell us if that's a better life or not.
Yeah, and he got to live like that. And we're gonna have it in heavy rotation. We're gonna see him. It's gonna be a camera on his ass all the time and stuff. I'm disguising as a white woman so I can come in there and beat his ass.
You want to beat his ass?
Yeah, I gotta beat his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Feed him slop, let him sleep on the dirt floor, have him. That I was reading that it was not unusual to see children on plantations butt naked.
Yeah, naked, running around naked.
Yeah, they wouldn't put no clothes on them. And they said, and it was embarrassing. Even some of the grown men, they would, their clothes would be so tattered. Underclothes was obsolete for us, having underclothes back then. That they said a man's private parts.
That's where they got that from us. Do y'all know the undergarment came from us? These people weren't even wearing that. It wasn't until they came around us and our people had undergarment on. That's when they started wearing it. Okay? This stuff didn't come from them. Trust me, it didn't.
Learn something today. I didn't know that. I know that. I know over when you start going into their history, they considered undergarment. They considered that a second layer of skin. So they wouldn't bathe, but they would put on a clean gown, and the males and the females undergarments were identical. They just wore a whole gown.
Yeah.
And stuff, and none of those clothes were washed. They didn't know how to wash it. Because they were fine fabrics. I forget when it was invented, but it was a black man that invented dry cleaning.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some of the stuff that was said. Okay. So this was a recent Fox and Friends, commentation. He was on there, and as usual, he's dragging the black community because that's what he lives on. That's what he makes his living on, y'all. Dragging black folk, just like Candace and many others. They make their living by dragging people that look just like them. Go figure, right? So Larry Elder stated, so he made 2 points. So he stated that there was a 40% reduction of black poverty from 87% to 47% in a 40-year time span up to the 1960s. This is tremendous. Then, typical of his radio delivery of a barrage of words and lack of a full meaning or substance on a subject, Larry stops at 1960s because that was when the welfare state began, as if everything positive stopped with that, which is not true. When welfare, and many of y'all know this history, when welfare first came out, black people weren't even allowed to get it. Okay, it wasn't until years later, then black women could get it, but there were all kinds of stipulations where her man couldn't be in the house, and they could pop by on you anytime they felt like it to check in to see what was going on at your house. I can't believe we let these people get away with doing this shit to us. But that's what happened. So they were doing what they do all the time, dividing the black family. They divided the black family all through chattel slavery, selling kids off, selling husbands and wives off. And they were hell bent on keeping the family divided even when welfare came along. And in our time, they use mass incarceration to keep our families divided. So this is something historic that they've always done.
Yes.
So today's black poverty rate is around 20%. So despite Larry's demeaning of the welfare state, black poverty continues to drop. So this is the reporter that's challenging him. With many trends, most of the activity takes place in the first years and then slows. But the continuing lowering of the rate of black poverty is news which Larry omits. And we know that that has dropped over the years, just like crime has dropped tremendously over the years
Oh yeah.
in the Black
Mhm.
community. But see, like they said, this is the deception that they play. They only tell half of the story and not the whole story.
No, coronavirus is bringing out the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it
Mhm.
is still too high for the overall population. Poverty rate is around 12%. Okay. So this delivery of typically Larry only selects issues and points are raised and the entire story not told. Exactly. I agree with
Mhm.
that. Two, in his continuing attack of the welfare state, he goes on about the lack of a father figure in Black households. But you know what? There's also a lack of father figures in white households, but they make sure they conveniently keep that out of the news. Look, when I was growing up, my neighbors went through a split and a divorce. They were white. That white man left this white woman with 3 children. Do you know he never even came back to visit the kids?
I've heard of
He
that
never
type of
came back
stuff.
to visit the kids. And these were my neighbors.
Mhm.
And he never, when he walked away from that family, and I remember when he split, it was a big commotion outside, y'all. And we went outside because we didn't know what was going on. We just kept hearing all this shouting. And his wife was crying and said, "Don't leave. Please don't leave." And the kids were out there crying too, saying, "Daddy,
Wow.
please don't leave us. Don't leave us." He jumped in that car, threw a suitcase in the car, jumped in the car, and he backed out of that driveway. And I'm telling you, that man never even so much as came back to say hello to those kids. But they
And
always trying to make it seem like only the Black man is doing that, and that's a straight up lie.
they were lucky because usually that sucker would kill everybody in the house.
Uh-huh.
Mhm. Yep.
But I seen that. And
But
number
you
two,
know,
I went to school, just this one point, Queen, and I'll let you talk. And not
okay.
only that, y'all, I went to school. When I went to school, it was integrated. There were white kids in my school that were with their mother, and there was no father around. So they always act like these circumstances always happen to us, but not to them. And that is a complete lie. That is a lie.
Sure is. Well, only thing I wanted to add was that, and I found this out recently, that when there's domestic violence in the household, in white households, that the father is beating on the kids too.
Yeah, he beats on
And
everything.
they did a statistics, and they said in Black households, he whipping on his wife, but he ain't whipping on the wife and the kids. That ain't it ain't that's not a dual thing. And they're right, because we don't hear that in the community, that some Black man is stumping his wife and stumping his kids.
Yeah.
Then when that happened, folks are stepping in.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he goes into the single father and how it affects Blacks. Okay, but he does not give the percentage of Black kids in single households. Neither do anybody else that make these arguments. I'm just telling y'all, most people that harp on single moms, a lot of times those statistics they give you are fake.
Mm-hmm.
They're false statistics. They really are. So back to this. So Larry Elders will rant on and on and on about single mother households, but he never gives you the percentage. Nor does he make the comparison between Black households and those of white, Latinx, and so forth. So he harps on that, but there's a lot of single mothers in those communities too. But it just doesn't get spoken about because we are always their intended target to trash. And see, these other groups are not fighting white supremacy. They're not. So they won't mess with them. They won't. All right. So go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to add that Larry Elder admitted that he hated his father, and his father was there for him, raised him, and was hardworking. This is a hateful bitch.
Yes,
That's the
he
only way I
is.
can put it. That he had that type of hate. His father was there for him. Because the way, I mean, the stuff that he's spewing, you would think that it wasn't no father in the household. He had a complete unit
That's the
in
way
the
it is,
household.
Queen.
But you,
Sometimes, let me tell you something. Sometimes I have to tell you, sometimes those are some of the most messed up Black people I've ever met in my lifetime, are the ones that had a mother and father in the household, and they still all fucked up. I mean, I don't know if you ever noticed that, but I sure have.
I have. Yes, I have.
And that was like, okay, you had your mother and father, and you still like this? A lot of them are still screwed up. That don't make you a better person. Sometimes if your parents are screwed up in the head and they're teaching you all kinds of crap that's incorrect, you turn out all screwed up too. I remember I met a white girl, and I mean, not a white girl. This was a Black woman that I worked with. Do you know what she said to me one day? We were working, and she had asked me for help. So I went over to give her a hand. And she was asking me a series of questions, and I was answering her. Do you know what she said to me? Oh, well, all right, but I'm going to still ask. And she named some white woman. She said, because typically, if it don't come from white folks, I don't believe it. Do you know I never spoke to her again after that day? She had a mother and father in the household, and this was her thinking. Her thinking was if the answer didn't come from someone white, that she didn't believe it. Now, this woman had a mother and father in the house, and look how screwed up her thinking was. So that don't necessarily make you a better person because your parents were there. Sometimes if they don't do a good enough job in raising you, you're going to be screwed up anyway.
Yeah. Well, like Anthony Bates said, he made a statement that's pretty deep about him. He said, maybe his father didn't let him get away with shit, because this dude is a problem child growing up where he grew up and stuff. He's messed up, and he's an addict. I see it all over his face.
Yeah. But, it's funny how he went back to South Central where he grew up, and them people weren't having it. They were like, don't you bring your ass back here.
I'm glad it was a bunch of white folk out there. And somebody asked the question, that Black woman he was walking with, was that his wife? He has never been married. He's
never been married. He's never had a wife.
And he don't
had a white fiance. He had a white fiance, and that white woman, blonde hair, blue-eyed woman, that was his fiance, but they never got married. She ended up leaving him because he was beating on her and pulled a gun on her, according to what she's saying. That's what Larry Elder did to her.
Yep. And Lisa, you should see the commercials and stuff they showing up here. It's getting vicious.
I bet it is. I bet it is.
They pulling out the kitchen sink on this stuff.
Well, I was looking because I've been trying to follow the election there. And it was saying, I think that Gavin Newsom right now is slightly ahead of Larry Elder. Now, how election day is going to turn out, that's a whole different issue.
Yeah, that was the last thing I read too.
All right, y'all. So here we go. And then this is what he's saying. Then under slavery, a Black kid was more likely to be born under a roof with his biological mother and biological father than today. That is not true, because white people saw value in selling us off. So they didn't care if they broke up a family. They were looking at profits. So that is false, that a child was born into slavery. He was living under the same roof with his mother and father. That was probably more unlikely than likely.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Okay, yeah. A lot of times if they saw a profit in selling the father, they sold the father. They didn't care if it were 10 babies. They didn't care.
No,
they didn't care. All right, so this is what he said. Which Larry means that was that better than today? And what kind of life would this so-called family in slavery have lived? They were not free to leave the plantation or the slave owner's land. That's right. They couldn't leave on their own. They couldn't. No, and even a slave that was being sent somewhere had to have some documentation on them, or they would have gotten in trouble and been accused of being a runaway. So no, they weren't free to, and I don't know what he's talking about, biological mother and father under the same roof. No.
Well, the thing that shows you the people that are his supporters, he spews out this rhetoric. And what does that have to do with addressing, I always say, our immediate situation?
Nothing.
So it shows you how jaded these people.
Yeah, this is just stuff that his white audience wants to hear.
Yeah,
and he knows it.
Yeah, just the trash folks. And he was like, oh no, you running for governor. What the fuck you gonna do?
Right. And you know what?
And all that other crap.
You know what else he does? Like, he has a radio talk show. And if black people call up and challenge him, he'll shout on top of you. He'll or he'll mute you, or he'll just throw you off altogether. That's how he treats black people that will call his talk show.
Mm-hmm.
You won't get an opportunity to talk because he'll just drown you out.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he does. I don't know if any of you have heard it. I've heard it maybe briefly a few times, but that's what he does to black callers that will call up there and challenge him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's just straight up nasty.
Mm-hmm.
So the person that wrote the article said, okay, so you're making this claim. What were their clothes like? You know, because slaves generally got clothes and shoes once a year. Once they got those clothes, they were stuck wearing them clothes for a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And they could be falling apart on them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. How often were they given clothes? What were they allowed to eat? And how often? How long before the children would be sent to the fields to work? Now, we know they made the children work as toddlers. You can see those pictures. Mm-hmm. If you pull pictures up of plantations, you'll see little toddlers out there. Y'all so fucked up. You want to send babies out there, toddlers. Mm-hmm. Oh man, it just blows your mind when you look at some of those pictures. So, so they're saying, okay, so how long would it be before the children were sent to the field to work? And remember, black children did not go to school. So they had to be in those plantation fields from sun up to sundown. Then how long would that Larry Elder imaginary family be together before the kids would be pulled from the family and sold as a slave? Exactly. Mm-hmm. They made, selling slaves was a big profit. That's why they did it so often all throughout chattel slavery. They were constantly selling and reselling the same slaves over and over. And, it was all for money. These people are still money hungry even to this day. Mm-hmm. So Larry seems to point to this cohesive nuclear family living as slaves, which we know that did not happen. It was very rare. There were sexual assaults on men, women, and children done by slave owners and their free employees without consequence from the law. So it might be a white slave owner, ladies and gentlemen, and he had some white employees. They all took part in sexually assaulting and abusing the slaves. Mm-hmm. He would let his white employees do that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Larry, of course, ain't bringing that up. Mm-hmm. Sometimes this was done by whites to try to dilute the black blood. Mm-hmm. So, this man is so disingenuous. He really is. Like I said, Candace Owens does the same thing. She always half-asses a story when she's trying to make a negative point about the black community. She does the same exact thing. Mm-hmm. And if you notice, they all got an issue with telling the history right. All of these people these so-called black conservatives.
Well, something that I've noticed is that okay, we're gonna focus just on Larry Elder. And he's spewing these comments and stuff. You notice there is no one there to back him, to defend him, or even challenge him, because he's keeping himself in a certain bubble too as well.
Right.
But it's like you're not getting it's because if you challenge him, the first thing I would ask is, well, okay, so what does that have to do with, what kind of policies, what kind of package did you put together? You're gonna be possibly the governor, with all that don't have nothing to do with anything. Let's show
Right.
you how dumb. Let's show
That's
you
what
how
those
dumb
homeless
they
people
are.
were saying. Right. But you know what, Queen, you're making the same point those homeless people were making when he went down there for his photo op. Because that's really all it was.
Saying, making all them little statements don't they ain't feeding a hungry child, ain't housing a homeless family, and all of that. It's like and that shows you how jaded they getting off on just hearing him say stuff like that. That just feels so good. Your ass is homeless, you don't got nothing, but let that black man just talk horrible about black folks, and that just make my homeless white ass feel grand.
Thank you, Zarp, for the super chat. Men were used as studs to impregnate as many women as possible. Do you know I came across one in my family, Zarp? When I did my family tree, I came across a male family member that had over 300 children. And I was like, okay, so somebody in my family was on them damn slave farms, reproducing kids with multiple women. So, I mean, look, I got that in my family. I found out just doing research. But yeah, a stud. That's what they were. They moved them from plantation to plantation to do so. Fathers were rarely there. Exactly. And those men really essentially, including my relative, they raped women. So a lot of those women didn't want to be impregnated, but that's what they did. So you have the white slave owner raping them, and then you got these studs that are out here raping the women to produce more slaves. It was really a horrible time.
It was. They said a lot of those men died.
Kids, yes.
Those men died from exhaustion, having sex so much it killed them.
Yeah,
and that knocked me down when I was when I read that. I was like, wow.
Yeah. So what they do is they take what they consider a strong slave, or they feel the genetics are strong in the slave, and then they turn around and make them a stud. That's what they do. It's sick. It is really sick. Larry Elder, the problem with him is, see, even if he don't win the governor's race, he's going to just go on talking the way that we know him to talk now. Now, you would think, okay, I'm running for governor. I need all the votes I can get. You would think he would tone down this kind of talk, but he's on a high with it.
Yeah, because he figured white folks will carry him through.
I mean, he ain't even trying to say, okay, let me just tone this down because I'm trying to win the election. He's just going on and on and on. It's like a day don't go by where he don't say some foul shit about the black community.
And the people that's against him are white folks, and they're Republicans also, but he's trying to run on a liberal ticket, thinking he being slick, thinking he throwing people off.
Right.
You ain't throwing nobody off.
I mean, he done kept himself out there for too long to be fooling people at this point.
Yeah. And like you often say, some of these comments these coons be making, they don't be believing most of that shit that come up out of their mouth.
No, they don't.
They doing it for shock value and all that.
That's why Kansas get called the grifter. And all these people that are cheering her on. Why don't you go back and look at her videos about 5-6 years ago? Candace was talking just like us about white supremacy. And then all of a sudden she did an about face and jumped on team white supremacy. You don't see nothing wrong with that. She did it for money. She did it for profit. We all know that.
At the end of the day, Candace ain't nothing but a scammer. And she's a person who she want that fast money. She want things fast. She not willing to like do an apprenticeship or something like that. So she was out there doing a lot of dirt, to find her niche. And she finally found her niche. And then, this white boy that she married to, I know she Googled him and said, ooh, Look at that. Look who I got here and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
And
James, you're right. You're right. They had sons lay with mothers on breeding farms. Yeah, that's where that term motherfucker comes from. Believe it or not, that's where it comes from. That's where it comes from.
When I learned that one years ago, that messed me up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because one thing I remember the first time I ever heard anything harsh about our encounter with Esau was that we didn't even know what rape was until we encountered them, and they have violated our royal bodies. They lust after our bodies and stuff. And, you even got our folks out here sexually confused. And one thing that they don't like is our conservative views. They don't like our conservative views. So they try to throw that in the mix or try to make you feel some kind of way because you have, we're decent people. I had an experience with a Chinese guy that I worked with for a while, and he said the misconceptions that he had about Black people, and the key thing that he said that stood out to me, he said, wow, I didn't realize y'all were so conservative and stuff. He said the impression
that way.
Yeah, he said the impression that he got was the Black woman was sexually wild, and all of that. And I said, no, you usually find the latter.
If anything, their women are sexually wild. I guess he must have a blinder on around his own women.
Yeah, no, this was a Chinese dude.
Okay.
And
them too. I mean, look at how many. Look. I don't look at porn, but I remember back in the day there were a lot of Asian women into porn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, them women are wild too. They'll overlook an ugly man and still that's
I've just seen a lot of that here.
Yeah. They'll overlook the bad looks of that man, and she will marry him for the money.
And it's not unusual in the white world that her mother will encourage her to be a straight slut. And I've even heard white girls say, oh, my mother taught me how to perform oral sex and all of that. That woman, she teaches that girl that kind of stuff. And it's not unusual for a white woman to be competing with her daughter. Because I know a guy. I've been knowing him for years. He went camping once. Him and his partner went camping, met this white woman and her daughter, and they were in the tent that night screwing, mother on one side, daughter on the other side, in the same damn tent and stuff. And I was like, wow. They and that's what they did. They would go around hunting around for Black dick. That's what they was looking for. And that's how her mother taught her. Remember that crazy girl that attacked our royal son down there in New York? You remember that footage a lot of us seen where her mother was drunk.
Her fat ass self talking about he trying to grab her ass and she didn't even have an ass.
No. And there's some footage of her and her mother. They both drunk at the gas station, and her mother got on a little top and she trying to compete and all of that. I said, oh, wait, you see why that girl messed up. Who's the first teacher of the child? But this
no, I was laughing because Brother Sly wrote Ling Ling, love me long time.
Yeah, I love you long time. I love you long time. Yeah, I love you long time. Ooh, soldier boy, I love you long time. That's how they would talk and stuff.
Yeah,
it always make me. You know what? Making that statement is something that always stood out to me. Remember that movie Bustin' Loose with Richard Pryor and Cicely Tyson?
And that
remember that Asian girl? They had she was a teenage prostitute, but she was an excellent artist, and she kept coming on to Richard Pryor, and they had, it was like one of those teachable moments, and he came at her like, stop this, you got this beautiful artwork and stuff. And, Cicely Tyson was like a guidance counselor for them and stuff. And I was like, wow, that was a deep scene. That's how decent our men are. It was like, they ain't trying to run up in some little teenage child. They hoard. That's sad. hoard those girls out like that in them in those countries.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm.
And they still do. That's why these American men be running over there to places like Taiwan to be laying around with children, doing things they know they couldn't get away with here.
Mm-hmm. I knew a black guy that was a superintendent on our job. Lisa, this man was shaped like a barrel. The front and the back was all the same. And he would go over, he used to like to go to the Philippines all the time. And he just went over there for sex. And somebody said, damn, he can't find nobody over here. At least if you would have seen what he looked like, a broke prostitute would have gave that money back. That dude, it ain't enough. It ain't enough darkness, paper sacks, just the visual of him. And then one brother pulled me to the side. He said, that sucker going over there screwing babies.
He probably is. I mean, that's why they like to fly to those kind of places. And you see how they like to go to Africa and buy them children. And that's all they want the children for. They'll go over there and buy children in Africa.
Well, I'm glad that some of our folks over there is putting their foot down and, not letting them do adoptions over there and stuff. I'm really glad that they're
they stopped it because too many children they adopted out ended up dead. So that's why they said if you're from Western nations, you cannot adopt none of their children.
Yeah, and then
many of those countries are adopting now.
Lisa, I think you were talking about this shortly. Didn't they try to pull something like that over in Haiti? They tried to walk off with a bunch of Haitian children.
That was when they had the earthquake.
Oh, okay.
We had an earthquake, and all these Americans allege, a high IQ Americans went over there, and they tried to snatch up the kids, and they got busted. Some of y'all might remember that. Yeah, they got caught trying to take those kids. They were going to use them for human trafficking.
Well, see, these what they'll do is hide behind being a missionary. Yeah. And a lot of those white kids are going over there to have sex with them kids and stuff.
Oh yeah, they do that even when they go to Africa. They'll go as a missionary, and then later on, you find out they've been raping the children. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's happened over there multiple times.
Look at that stuff. Look at that scandal that went down when Oprah had that school put together. That exposed a bunch of stuff. Going on there. That was a bad look for Oprah. You notice you don't hear them talking about this.
What kind of damn woman is she anyway? You got children over here that need schools, decent schools, right? You gonna go a whole continent away to set up a school, and you a damn billionaire. You could have set up all kinds of schools right here for black children if you really wanted to do it. So how bad I don't know. I got misgivings about that shit.
Yeah, Oprah, Oprah ain't shit. Oprah ain't shit. She is no damn good. And we peeped her whole Carter long ago. And I even noticed Gayle has kind of pulled away from her. I mean, I'll never trust Gayle, but I noticed she didn't tone down her rhetoric. Oprah she a low down dirty dog.
Yeah, I think Gayle turned down because a lot of people got on her over the years for certain things she was doing. I think that's the main reason why she toned it down. I mean, she knows even still, to this very day, there are a lot of black people that don't like Gayle.
And
Oprah, a lot that still don't like her.
Oprah sat up on national TV, told a bald-faced lie, said that Bill Cosby was threatening Gayle from when he was in jail.
And he's legally blind. He can't even see nothing if he was sitting in front of a computer without help. So how was he doing that from jail?
Yeah, I mean, and then she busted out with some fake tears and said that there's death threats and all of that kind of stuff. See, when people be saying that, where's the receipts at? Don't just let nobody just tell you anything and stuff.
Jerome Simmons said Oprah said that because we black people wouldn't be appreciative, or she said. Well, she's willing to believe lies. She certainly believed the lies that were told to her about Michael Jackson. Thank you, Jerome, for the super chat.
Yeah. and disrespected that family. Yeah, she a straight fraud. Oprah just low down. It's something about her that just makes my stomach turn. Especially when, the Jacksons allow her to interview, come in their household, and she gonna say
Yeah, but let me go back. Somebody made a comment. Hold on.
okay.
Malka Bat Yisrael, you said don't judge Oprah. You know that our children wouldn't appreciate free education, that blessing. So she condescend to grant them. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, and
I don't agree with that.
and I can judge whoever the hell I want to judge, and I'm judging Oprah. I'm judging her ass, and you cannot say collectively overall our children are like that. It's a lot of our children that I personally know that want an education. I know a
Right.
girl.
I mean, there's a lot. Look, when our kids get grants or they get money towards their college, they're always appreciative about that. So I don't know what you're saying.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, come on. But how did it turn out better for children in Africa when those girls got raped? Do you know those girls that was in Oprah school for all girls? Do you know many of those girls got raped? Are you aware of that? See, when you have schools like that, that can actually become a danger, especially to a predator that knows, okay, I can go over there. There's all little girls over there. And that's exactly what happened. Some of those girls got raped. So was that good for them? Was that a good situation for the school in Africa, being that they got raped over there?
Yeah, but just to say overall that our royal babies are so shallow and all they concerned about is just material things. I remember when I went to the Black College Expo, Lisa, there was such a touching story. This young girl.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's a troll. That's a definitely troll reaction. I
Yeah,
agree with y'all on that.
I'm gonna say this real briefly. This young black girl had to give her testimony. She was raised by a house full of addicts, and she was very academically gifted and stuff. And she would go to the library and dig up and fill out as many applications she could to get scholarships, because she knew she wasn't getting no help at all. And she ended up with tons of scholarships. And I distinctly remember they had to end up giving her a check for like 16,000 and stuff. So she was able to have her whole college education paid for. And then when they sing, and this even happened to my children too. When they sing that she kept a certain grade average, they even gave her more scholarships, because that happened to my son and daughter, that they got scholarships even along the way when they were in college. Somebody in the staff or something would see something in them and seeing the effort that they made. Or there's scholarships out there that folks don't even know about that I learned too. And they said that it's sad that not even 15% of these students overall not even tapping into these things. But this young girl knew her dilemma, knew her situation, and she lived in the library because she knew she wasn't going to get no help. She wanted an education.
Donna Means, thank you so much for what you posted. You just made me remember something. I remember also with Oprah, there was an issue with one of those African teachers that was abusing those girls too. And I remember that came out. A story that came out. It was one of the teachers that was doing it.
I think that was the one also that was sexually molesting them kids too, or that African
she
teacher.
could have been one of them. Donna Means, thank you for the super chat. Oprah is the front runner of Candace Owens. In my opinion, Oprah had an agenda when she opened the school in Africa. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. So don't judge Oprah. Wow.
Yeah, and listen, and you go over there and listen to Mr. Superboy. He really give you a good breakdown what Oprah didn't do in Chicago the whole time she was there. She didn't help no black folks there and stuff.
Mhm.
And then doing all them car giveaways and all that old phony shit. I used to crack up about that. You would see all them white girls all crying because they're gonna get a car. I said they'll turn on her on
Mhm.
you know what? They even turned on Oprah. Remember when she lost all that weight? How them some white women was saying they liked her better when she was fat.
Yeah, no, what they were really saying is when black women are fat and we're next to those black women, we're more attractive. That's what they're really saying.
Mm-hmm.
They like you to be unattractive, when compared to them.
Well,
And that's just a load of BS. They
yeah,
get jealous, believe it or not, y'all. They get jealous of us too. When I was coming up, there was a white teacher's aide, and she really was not attractive at all. She was kind of a little fat and dumpy, and she really wasn't attractive. Well, anyway, one day I forgot what I had to go to her for. I had to go to her for a reason. It's been so long I can't remember. Well, anyway, while I was waiting to talk to her, a white dude in the school walked up and complimented me in front of her. From that day on, she was trying to mistreat me, but she didn't get away with it. Not with my mouth. I came right back at her.
I don't
But
blame
yeah,
you.
that was enough to send her over the edge. It
Mm-hmm.
was.
Yeah, because
I mean, this dude, I wasn't even interested in him. I mean, we just went to school together. I saw him every year because we went to the same school, but I was never, ever interested in him.
Well, you know what I love is the story you told me about this black guy you knew that was dating one of them Beckys, and he just got tired of it, and started dating a black girl that he was really interested in, and then she gonna threaten him.
Yes, I remember that. Yep.
And that's something that really messes them up when they'll hook up with a black man, have children with a black man, and then he'll skip out on her too. And because they'll get up there and say, yeah, y'all don't know how to keep them. Yeah, he'll leave your ass too with them little
Mhm.
half-breed kids too as well. Don't and it's been a lot of black guys that said, I even worked with some that said, I messed up. I should have never hooked up with one of them white girls. But yeah, they can't take rejection from each other, let alone hooking up with us. And then we start getting our mind right.
Well, I mean, look at it. Look at the history. During chattel slavery, when those men would sleep with the black women, what were they saying? We were enticing the men. We ain't gotta entice them damn fools, you please. But that's the kind of stuff the white women were saying back then, that the black women were enticing the men. Ain't nobody got to entice your man. He'll stick his thing in anything.
Sure,
Why
sure
you
will.
entice your man,
Like,
girl? You don't get out of here.
yeah, like when you were saying, um, in the region, I guess somewhere like where your family was, it was a bunch of mulattoes, and that somebody was making a comment, this is disgusting. Yeah, what's disgusting is your man is the one going up in sisters. That's why you're seeing all these mulattoes.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
what my grandmother said to him. They were
mhm.
at that. This is back when she was doing domestic work. She said there were these white women sitting on the porch talking about, oh, they didn't believe in race mixing, and you know how they start talking. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. And my grandmother said, okay, well, where did all these mulattoes come from?
Mhm.
Okay, they didn't get here just from a black woman.
Mhm.
Where did these come from?
Tell it, Loretta. See, she
She just
signifying
woke
back
up.
there for.
She had her old lazy ass sleeping. Y'all don't know Loretta's she's living the life. It's
Yeah,
always True Royals cats. They're living a life, man.
they
They
should,
get fed,
man.
they can eat, they can sleep, they can wake up, lick their balls and everything. They're just having a ball. They living the life.
I know I want to live a life because they get well taken care of. I
Mhm.
mean, man, they
I
got to
know
get
somebody
well.
wrote on there one day, Loretta was meowing, and somebody wrote, Loretta's hungry. Loretta got more kids than the cat kingdom up in here. Okay, this cat ain't starving for nobody.
Loretta got an electrical water bowl. She get fresh water spewing out. She don't get stagnant water.
I mean, trust me, this cat got more than probably the average cat in this neighborhood. I'm serious. She got so much. We keep her well fed. She got a water fountain. True Royal was laughing at me because I got her one of those little heating pads for and she lays on that little heating pad. I mean, trust me, this cat is spoiled.
We didn't discover, we got to get our couch repaired, our love seat repaired. My cat Mink, I came to the conclusion I don't think he liked that love seat. He been attacking it. He don't bother the other one, and that's so unusual for a cat to put their nails in leather. I mean, he didn't jack. That's a brand new love seat.
Wow. No, Loretta's not doing that. In fact, one of her scratching posts, I gotta throw the damn thing out. She done scratched it so much it looks terrible. I'm gonna throw it out and just buy her a new one. I'm surprised,
Yeah, I've had many a cats, and that's the first for me.
But Loretta likes to kill crickets.
Oh, she been getting those crickets?
Yeah, she's been getting them crickets. You know what she like to do, y'all? She'll get a hold of the cricket, right? And tear all the legs off. And she gets a hold of it and tear all the legs off. And then you'll see this cricket laying on the floor dead with no legs.
Wow. So she's been taking care of your cricket
Yes. Remember when I told you there was one in the living room? Well, later on that day, I went back in the living room and there was no sound. And my son went in there and he said, Mom, she got the cricket.
Wow.
And then you saw the carcass with no legs.
I know you were telling me one time she hunted down a rodent in the kitchen and waited patiently all day till she got the joker.
We know when she's looking for something. What she does, she gets under the kitchen table and she won't move. So I guess, when whatever is in the room, if it comes running out, she got it.
Yeah, what they'll do is they'll have them hemmed up, and that sucker eventually gonna be hungry and want to come up out of the area they hemmed up, and they know they being watched, and the cats are patient, and they'll finally come out and get pounced because I done found all kind of stuff they'll bring in the house.
Yeah. That guy from Texas, I was a dog person too. I had dogs my entire life. Loretta is actually the first cat I ever had. I never, prior to her, I always had different dogs. I'm
not going to declaw. I'm not going to declaw my cat. That's
they have the right to defend themselves if they're in that situation. I don't think they should ever be declawed.
Yeah, even the long whiskers that they have is a form of protection for them.
Yeah, and that's how they feel. Yeah,
they need all of that.
I let her have her whiskers, her claws, and every now and then one of her claws will break off because it's like nails. It'll break off, and I'll pick it up off the floor.
I'll trim their nails because sometimes they'll get just a little too long. But you have to get under the light because you can see that vein.
Yeah,
and just clip it just a little bit. But no, to take their claws out, that's cruel.
Yeah.
It's
trust me, it's big differences. I know a huge difference. You can't even compare how you care for a cat and how you care for a dog. It really is different.
Cats are lazy. They lazy. And I understand.
Oh, you got a cane Corso. Oh, I love those dogs. They're beautiful.
A cane Corso. I never heard of that kind of dog.
Yeah. Yafaya, Yezerel. Yeah. Like. Yeah, go pull it up. It's a big dog. But it's a beautiful dog. I grew up around a few people that had that dog. That's a beautiful dog.
Let me pull that up. I've never heard of that. Cane Corso.
You've seen one before. I promise you. When you see the picture of it, you're going to say, I've seen that dog before.
Okay.
You will. Yeah, I believe you've seen one before. You probably just didn't know what breed it was.
Let's see here. Oh,
yeah. Yeah. Those cane Corsos are good. They'll kill anything. If let's say a groundhog or even rabbits, raccoons, anything that come in that yard, that cane Corso will kill it. They
Mm-hmm.
will kill anything. And thank you, Tribe of Judah. They will even kill coyotes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one thing, it's very it's like a lot of dogs, but those dogs are very territorial. And you know who got those dogs? If you go look it up, Patti LaBelle. Those dogs are the ones that they protect her mansion. Patti
Mm-hmm.
LaBelle got I think she got about 3 or 4 of those cane corsos. If
Wow.
you go look it up, you'll see her cane corsos,
Mm-hmm.
and they protect her grounds.
Whoa.
And those dogs will kill anything.
They look like they can get pretty big.
They do get big. They do get big. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, they will kill anything that comes near your yard. That dog ain't having nothing in that yard with them. That's how they are. They don't want nobody in that yard but them.
Mm.
She has 4. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What state does Patti LaBelle live in?
Patti LaBelle lives in Pennsylvania. That's where she was born and raised.
Oh, okay.
I think her family originally come out of the South. But my family, we went to church. We all went to the same church in Philly as Patti LaBelle.
Mm.
And by the time I was a little girl, she was already a grown woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember her singing in church. Patti used to sing in the choir called the Bueller Ensemble. And the church was Bueller Baptist Church. You can look this up. We went to that same church. But I vaguely remember Patti LaBelle. Like I said, by the time I was a child, she was a grown woman already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cane corsos are badass dogs. They are. But I tell you what, Queen, if you got one, that would be the best protection you and Omari would have.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have to worry about nothing coming near your house, because that dog is a rider. For real,
Wow.
that dog is a rider. He ain't gonna let nobody come near your yard. They will block anybody that attempts to come up to that house. That's how they are.
I remember one time you showed a video of some dogs over, I think they were over in Africa, and the dog could damn near scale a wall. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that was actually those are actually dogs that they use for policing, believe it or not, because those dogs can do everything. They have a lot of agility.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about the Malinois. Yeah. Those dogs have a lot of agility. Those are dogs that they use for policing and over in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
They use that dog a lot. Rottweilers are actually when you go over, when I was in Germany, Rottweilers are actually police dogs over there too.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody don't use a German Shepherd like they do here in the US. When you start going into other countries, they use different dogs for policing.
Mm-hmm.
Here they use German Shepherds, but when I was over in Germany, that was the first time I saw a Rottweiler. I actually saw a Rottweiler before I seen the first one over here in the US.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what they did back in the day, the Rottweilers were used as messenger dogs. They would put messages on the dog, and the dog would, during the war, would go from one location to the next carrying the message.
Yeah, I heard about that years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you know what? Let me read this, and Lisa will fill it in. So Darcy and brother said, I think cats are very spiritual animals too. I did some research on ancient animals, and Lisa has said as much as I thought I knew about cats, that they're part rabbit. You were saying?
Yes. What they did was cats are actually old. Cats are older than dogs. Cats have been around for 9,000 years. Do you know that? Cats are 9,000 years old.
Wow.
And what they did was, because I told True Royal before I got Loretta, I had to learn real fast about cats. I didn't want to bring a cat in and then I don't know how to care for it. So I started reading on the history of cats, and I found out cats are 9,000 years old. And what they did was, when they made the little house cats, all cats are actually tigers.
Mm-hmm.
All cats are tigers. And what they did was they spliced it with a rabbit so it wouldn't grow all big and out of control. That's
Mhm.
why they're the small size that they are, because they got spliced, the tiger gene got spliced with
Mhm.
a rabbit. And
Mhm.
and back in the day, 9,000 years ago, the only ones that got the cats were wealthy people, or
Mhm.
people that were kings and queens. They were the ones that got the cats. It was
Yeah.
not something that everybody had.
Yeah, when you were talking about that their hind legs is a dead giveaway. Those are just like rabbit legs.
Rabbit.
Uh-huh.
Yep, it sure
Uh-huh.
is. It
Yeah.
sure is.
I was like, wow, that's
But
amazing.
now, but you are right, Sherry Maxey. Nowadays, cats are spliced with other things.
Mhm.
Um, you got that Maine Coon.
Mhm.
That cat is actually spliced with a raccoon, and they grow about the size of a raccoon. They grow up to, I think, 25 pounds is the biggest cat you can get. But that Maine Coon is spliced with a raccoon.
Now
And then
now
you said there are some that are spliced with a weasel. Yes, they splice cats with different things nowadays. But back in
mhm.
the day, the original cat was spliced with a
Mhm.
rabbit.
Now keep that in mind because I'm reading different comments. We did that, and we were into a lot of um, gene slicing and all that. That wasn't Esau that
No,
did that
Esau
one.
did not do that. Now, some of the
Mm-mm.
pets that you see today, Esau had a hand in, but not the original cat. They didn't have no hand in that at all.
Mhm.
And dogs are about 7,000 years old. That's how old dogs are.
Mm, mm, mm.
So the dog is actually younger than the cat.
Wait a minute. You
Mhm.
said, well, that's an interesting statement. It said, what does it mean that in America, black people's freedom is worse than enslavement? Got to think deep on that.
Well,
One
first of
freedom.
all, Kwame, just take note of who that's coming from.
Mhm.
I mean, is Larry Elder really going to tell the truth about the history, or is he going to lie to satisfy the white audience that keeps
Mhm.
propping him up?
Mhm.
We know it wasn't better then, but he's got to keep them entertained.
Yeah. And he has no agenda. That's just like uh, Herschel Walker. That stuff that they saying, I already been knew that about him because I remember they had some little debate going on, and I knew what Herschel was doing. He was looking on a computer and trying to find something real quick. He don't do no researching or anything. He not quick on his feet um at all. So he don't have no it lets you know he don't even have a staff because they'll put you can get somebody to prepare a speech for you. You can get somebody to your staff get you on the calendar where you can get out there and start beating the pavement and
Mhm.
campaigning and stuff. So this is this what this is doing to like somebody like Herschel Walker or even Larry Elder is really exposing them. They think, oh, because you got some people behind the scenes just propping them up.
Yeah.
And what I'm loving is that even the people in their surround in their circle is they pushing back. They like, I don't want that nigga. As long as they out there saying what they saying, that's fine. But trying to get a position on something, uh-uh.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
Because no, 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 no. They don't want that. And that's and they too slow to even see that type of stuff. Because
Right.
they'll be in the inner circle with them. They get ready, they get to go to the mansion parties and go to them little fake stuff. So they'll think they are in like Flynn. And it's what I'm loving is it's showing that they don't want them getting no positions. Yeah, you can spew and talk bad about your folks, but once you think, because they tripping off of power.
Yeah.
So they don't know what kind of danger they really are in. Them folks, they'll kill their own. They'll kill, so they ain't thinking nothing of killing some black person.
Right.
You
That
know.
that's true. That's true.
Hmm.
Now somebody wrote, I feed my cane Corso raw. Yes, let me tell y'all something. My dog, I had an American Eskimo dog, and my dog lived to be 19 years old. and I kept him on an organic diet. If you would just put your dogs and cats on organic diets, they'll actually live longer. They will. My dog got food directly from my garden. And what I would do is just, I found a few recipes to put together dog food. And that's what I gave him. He ended up living 19 years old. 19. So if you got a dog, consider keeping them on an organic diet throughout their life. And I'm telling you that they'll have the best health. And even when they become elderly dogs, they will still be in a lot better shape than those dogs that are not on an organic diet.
Yeah, Lisa, how old is that in dog years?
Wow.
Yeah,
that was up there.
Woo.
We could hardly believe he hung in there that long.
Is that every 7 or every 5 or somewhere
7.
along? Every 7?
Whoa. Yeah, every 7.
Wow. That's a long time. Yeah. It's it's like the cats, we give the cats bottled water, and I even give the cats that colloidal copper. I put it in a water. And my cat Mink, he had caught a bad cold and he was real congested. So we just took a dropper and we just gave it to him directly, and he got well quickly and stuff. You can, some of those things you can give them because you can definitely put that stuff in a water. So people, I knew a lady that had a poodle, and she would feed that poodle every morning. She would take her annual trip to McDonald's and feed that poodle an egg McMuffin.
Wow.
And then the dog was getting sicker and sicker, eating food. And then it was too late. Then she wanted to try to start feeding them right, but you're killing them. That food will kill them. It's like this. If a shark happens to bite a human, they'll spit them out. They can't stand the taste of us.
Yeah. So if you're going to go the organic route, or you just don't want to buy the food on the shelves because it's junk, a lot of it really is junk. Just get a couple of recipes. There's some really good recipes on making dog food. And then what you need is those little Tupperware stackable containers. That's what I used to use. And they're equivalent to the size of a can of dog food. And what I would do is I would mix it and then pack it inside of each container, and then put that baby right in the freezer. And then the ones that I was ready to feed them, I would put those in the refrigerator. And that's how I would do it. Wow. And trust me, it'll be worth it for you and the pet in the long run.
I was reading it. They say you can make dogs vegetarians, but you can't make a cat a vegetarian.
Right. And they even, in fact, when I was on Amazon a few days ago, I even saw a dog bone maker where you mix the ingredients for like if you want to feed them those dog biscuits, you mix it together, and then it has like this cooker, and you just put it in there and it will make the dog bones, make it in the shape of a dog bone and everything.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, wow, they didn't have that when my dog was living, but they certainly have it now.
That's the one thing I love about getting on the computer and shopping and browsing. It's all kind of stuff out there.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. I gotta check that one out.
Black Cobra Ninja 5, thank you for the super chat. Did this dude used to be a bootlick Pharisee, culprit, pimp? He sure sound like it, don't he?
You know what? He ain't a reformer on nothing. He
no.
Every negative thing that you could think of. But like I said, I'm gonna always call him a dope fiend. And it's like they, what they'll do is like these they especially do it to Black celebrities who have crossed over. The first thing they want to do is throw out that they was a drug addict and they was this and that. So throw their medicine back in it in his face, because they pushing hard on his tail, the stuff that's coming out on him. That's why I'm saying in the next few short days, ooh, something gonna come out explosive. You know, they always say the
Yeah, I
best
mean,
for last.
first of all, his mouth is a loose cannon. And I mean, and the things he's saying, it is totally inappropriate for somebody that's running for office. I mean, it's like a day that don't go by where he don't have some insulting thing to say about the Black community. Cameron Charles, thank you for the super chat. True Royal, one thing you said I disagree with. Cats are not lazy. Oh, you're offending cats. They're independent. The village I grew up in, we had no mice. The cats killed them all. They find them on their they find their own food if you don't feed them. Yeah, outdoor cats will do that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you know what, Queen? You know what I don't get? You notice when you see outdoor cats, they are huge. I was like, what the hell are they finding to eat? I know the ones around here, they are so big.
You know what I noticed, Lisa? Cats overseas have huge balls, the male cats.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of them look like they be hanging off of them. And I'm like, you don't see that over here.
No. But I tell you what, I used to wonder, what are these cats finding to eat? Because when they live outdoors, they are like ginormous. They are some big ass cats.
I guess they're big. Yeah, I noticed that too. And I guess they have to be bigger because they out there in the wilderness. They got to fight. You know, it's pretty hard lifestyle. Cats can be lazy. I understand where you're coming from. My cats, you know, they take care of the mice and stuff to try to come up in here, but for the most part, all they do is sleep.
Now, Queen, the weather's about to change. You know, in the fall, and I had to learn this about Loretta. In the fall, they tend to sleep more. They tend to sleep more. So, because I remember the first year we had Loretta, we was like, what's all with all this sleeping? And then finally I said, I need to look into this. And then I found whenever that season changed from warm into fall, you know, the warm, and then it started getting cooler, they tend to sleep a lot more, which I did not know, but I had to learn that. Thank you, Yafa Yah Yisrael, for the super sticker.
Yeah, you are right. They sleep a lot because they always eating. But then what they'll do is sometimes at night I'll hear them flying through the kitchen, boom, bam, running. They just wake up, and then during the day they just sleep all day. They heat seekers.
Yeah, they're nocturnal. That's right, Mr. Pirate Brain.
They are nocturnal.
Yeah, and so are mice. So it is perfect, actually, you know, that they're more awake at a time. If a mouse was in your home, they would more than likely get it because they're all up at the same time.
Somebody asked you a question, Lisa. They said, Lisa, did you have a heart problem or headache? Because my mom have COVID and want to know is that the causes of it?
No, I don't have heart problems. During COVID, when I had it, I did not have a headache. My son did. My son had some pretty bad headaches, but I did not have a headache. Go ahead.
No, what I was thinking of, you could have 3 or 4 people in the house that have coronavirus and everybody have totally different symptoms.
Yes.
It's really strange.
True. That's very true. Yeah. You know what I would suggest? Superman kicking ass, Superman kicking ass. Okay. What I would suggest is, does your mother drink tea? Does she drink tea, or would she be willing to drink tea? So I would suggest getting the soursop for your mother.
Yeah. Detox your body to get rid of the if you get it, I'm telling on myself, and I need to, once it's over, detox. Lisa has said to detox, and I didn't detox, and I regress back for like 2 days because that it's poison lingering in your colon and everything after that.
Yeah. Yeah, you really got to, when you start feeling better, you really got to push whatever remnants are left in your body out. So it's best to detox and get it all out.
Mm-hmm. Because remember, in our colon, that's the key to all our illnesses, the colon. And then coronavirus, um, it starts in the stomach. It's cultivated
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
You and that's why it's good to have a low yeast um diet. Don't have a lot of yeast in your system, because if you trust and believe, you get sick with something and you have a lot of yeast in your system, it just multiplies even worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Now,
Hmm.
one of somebody had wrote me, yeah, about the food shortage, and they were saying, you know what, Lisa, it is true. And she was actually the first person to say she's having a problem finding a loaf of bread. And I said, wow, a loaf of bread is difficult to find. So, you know what I said? I had said for a long time, I'm going to buy a bread maker. I got up this morning and I bought one. I bought one, and I
Hmm.
bought the slicer where you put it in and you can just align it up and just slice your bread. And I bought a brand new bread knife. I did all of that today because if there's going to be a shortage, I'll just make my own bread.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'll make my own. So I got my maker. I can't wait for it to get here. I'm gonna start making my own homemade bread.
I'm telling you, folks,
That's what I'm gonna do.
folks, one thing, when they had that first shutdown,
Hmm.
remember I was telling you over there on Facebook, Black folks was having a ball. They was putting on cooking shows.
Oh,
They
okay.
was they was doing all kind of stuff. There's been, like I said, it's sad that a lot of people are sick and dying and stuff, but I've also seen, our folks coming back together. They're cooking, at home. We sitting down and eating,
The
you know.
healthiest food you can have.
Mhm. Yeah, and you fellowship with your family.
Yeah.
And they trying to make people feel keep trying to keep this propaganda up, where you gotta it's mandatory to take that jab, and a lot of folks is falling for it. That's the part that's getting me.
All right, hold on. Somebody was asking about the detox. I'm gonna share my screen. I'll show you what brand I got. Reba Davis said, what detoxer do you recommend? Let me show you the one I bought from Amazon. Hold on one second. Let me share my screen. All right. This is the one I got. This is the blue is for men and the red is for women. And it's 7 days. Now, the first one I bought was 10 days. And this time around, I did not want to do 10 days, especially after I went through COVID. I bought this one. In fact, I bought three of them. I got one for my son, one for my husband, and one for me. And I did this for 7 days. And man, it will clean your ass out because I was on that toilet. Let me tell you, it will clean you out. In fact, it tells you if your bowels become too watery to
Mhm.
skip a day,
Yeah,
to skip a dose.
I just bought some of that. That's ironic that you showed that. 'Cause,
Hmm. But this is good. This stuff was really good, in my opinion. I was not looking for weight loss. I was really just looking to cleanse my body, but I did lose, I think, about 5 pounds after
mhm,
I got finished using it.
mhm,
But this is the one I use. It's
mhm.
called the cleaner.
Yeah, and that's after um I would just say after any kind of illness you get, it's just good to detox, period. That
Mhm.
should just be a given.
Yeah. And it's not that expensive. So if you're looking for something, that's one. But I would just suggest that you look through all of them. Maybe the one I showed you was not for you. You may see something actually a little better,
Mhm.
So it'll pay for you to shop around when you're out there looking. That's what I would recommend. But that's the one that I used, and it did
Mhm.
work quite well for
Yeah,
me.
because they do have some that linger on way too long.
Yeah, because the
Um,
other one I have, and I still got a bottle of it, is 10 days.
mhm,
And I don't know, when I got done with being sick, I just didn't want to go 10 days of detoxing. So I just bought one for 7. And
mhm.
that was good enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, prune juice. Yeah, my mother used to like prune juice. That's how she wouldn't take laxatives. She would just have a cup of prune juice whenever she had any problems, and it would clear everything up.
Mm.
I mean, some people, I know one of my doctors back in the day told me not to take any of the laxatives on the market, just to get some white grape juice and just drink that anytime I was having problems. Just drink white grape juice. That's what he recommended.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so really you don't have to take any of the laxatives out there if you know what to do.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and don't forget the copper water. You can get like a copper container, because that copper kills bacterias and viruses and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And you're getting a constant flow of that copper in your system.
Okay. Sine Vara said, combine prune juice and apple juice. It amplifies the kick. Really?
Whoa.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Prune juice and apple juice, huh?
I don't like prune juice. Yuck.
Yeah, I was not really into it, but my mother would. She said, "Look, it was good whenever she needed a good cleansing." I guess
But I can eat some prunes. But you know what? I like the prunes with the seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff. I'll eat up a bag of prunes. Like ain't
Man, I
nothing.
bought me some last year. They were organic that I got from Amazon. I tore them damn things up, and I paid for it too.
Oh yeah.
I paid for that too, but I tore them things up.
Yeah, like I bought some apricots, them dehydrated apricots, and I couldn't control myself, Lisa. They were so good. And I paid for it. I couldn't help it. I just kept eating them and eating them. They were just so good. Um, and that's like my least favorite fruit. I don't go for a apricot, but I'll eat the ones that are dehydrated. They taste really good.
Uh-huh.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a juicer. Yeah, at
Yeah,
least.
I have a juicer too. I got a nice blender.
Mhm.
My blender actually cooks food. Believe it or
It
not,
does. Wow.
you can cook. Let me see, because I got it from Amazon. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up.
I never heard of that.
Yeah,
Wow.
I got one that actually cooks food, and the thing is off the hook. I make
Mhm.
all of my smoothies in it because it blends everything up so evenly, and I love
Mhm.
that.
Oh, you
See if
eating
I
them
can find it.
dehydrated?
If I find it, I'll show it to you, because
Mhm.
you know how it is. Sometimes um, you'll get a model and then it's no longer around.
Mhm. Mhm. I understand.
Fusion blade.
How long you had that one?
The blender.
Yeah, that one that
Oh man, I've had this blender now for about. I got it back in 2018,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's got a cook feature on it, and it'll make things like gravies and soups, sauces,
Mhm.
and you just put the ingredients in it, and it will blend it all up, and then it will heat it up for you.
Wow.
That's what it will do. Nope, but they don't have it in stock anymore. I
Yeah,
guess because so many years have gone by.
those things are expensive. Christopher Clipper, them jumbo juice. What we did was we just bought all the fruits, wash it, set up an assembly line, chopped it all up, and just put them in individual freezer bags. And we got our jumbo juice right in the house. They charge way too much, and
Uh-huh.
I don't like all that sugary stuff they have in there. They overload it with sugar, like they'll use sherbets and stuff, and sherbet is sweet.
Here it is. Here it is. Okay, here it is. Hold on. I'm going to show y'all the blender I have. Here it is. I guess the one I had, it just didn't come up anymore. Maybe it was listed by a different person. Maybe that was why.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Let me share my screen. I'll show you this blender. I love this blender. Like I said, I every time I use it, it makes everything nice and even. I made one soup in it, and it came out great.
Mm.
And like I said, you can make your gravies, any sauces that require, that are hot, you can make that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so, and I love this blender. I really do. It's real powerful too. Okay. Here we go. Here it is. It's called a Ninja Foodie. Cold and hot. It makes hot soup, sauces. It blends dip. So you want to make a dip, you can do that in there.
Wow.
1400 watts. It crushes frozen drinks. This is what I make my smoothie in every single day. And I'm telling you, this thing, the smoothies come out so good every single time.
Wow.
But I got mine brand new. This one is renewed, but I got mine brand new, but it's this exact same model.
Whoa.
And so, I mean, if you want to do things beyond just blending things, then it's a great one to have. And when I got mine, y'all, I got mine. I think it was like around Cyber Monday. I went out there and I needed a new blender because the one I had, it just wasn't blending all that great anymore. So I said, let me just look around, and I found it and I got it. I think when I got it like 40% off on Cyber Monday. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the only thing them holidays is good for. Them sales, and like you're saying, when they have that Cyber Monday, that's what I wait for. It's like I'm patient.
So
I got some good deals.
They got other ones, y'all, that cook. This is just the one I got. But if you look, this one is also not only does it cook, it's self-cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these are professional grade blenders. So they'll be a little more expensive since they're professional grade. But professional grades are really like high end, more powerful than normal blenders. So yeah, so you just want to put in blender hot, cold, and you should see like a whole list of them that have the ability to blend and also cook. So that, it's just something to think about if you ever want to feel like you need to get a blender and you want a really good one.
You name it, they got it.
Oh yeah, they sure do.
Mm-hmm.
The Vitamix, they also got some that cook that are Vitamix too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a good look, they got those out there too.
Yeah, my son bought the Vitamix. It made my little blender look like nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some really good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I blend up my sea moss in mine too. That's why I buy the dry sea moss and I just soak it. And then when I get finished soaking it, I put it right in the blender. Man, I be getting 32-ounce jars. I mean, like big jars I can fill up with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely worth it, in my opinion. And the nice thing is, if you freeze your sea moss, it'll actually stay good for up to 6 months in your freezer.
Wow.
So it's worth your time and money to even, deal with the dry sea moss. That's what I would recommend people do. Because if you buy the jars already prepared, those are so much more expensive. And it's easy to do on your own.
Yeah, and the stuff you didn't put in it and everything. That's
and you can make it a fruited sea moss. You can put your favorite fruit in there and blend up the dry sea moss, and you'll have a fruity type sea moss.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that too.
Yeah, I remember I was looking, because I didn't know much. I'm still learning about sea moss, and they even have different colors.
Yeah, I got a jar of green in my refrigerator right now. You can get the purple, you can get the green, you can get the golden. Yes, it sure does come in different colors.
Yeah.
And just when you buy the dry, the only thing you have to do is rinse it real good, because remember, it comes from the ocean, so it's going to be loaded in a lot of sand. So you want to rinse it real good before you soak it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then just let it soak. Don't get carried away in letting it soak. I would say no more than about 8 hours. But even if you soak it for about 4 hours, that's still good. And just put it in the blender with some water. blend that baby up, and you'll have a big old jar of sea moss. You won't be running out anytime soon.
Yeah, so the key, you know, is because that coronavirus is going to be here like a vengeance during the winter, is we should be working now on building up our immune system as high as we can, you
Yes,
know.
I
And
agree.
so like I said, I caught some little 24-hour bug. Me and my husband, it was a headache and just a weird feeling in our body. And when we feel something, feeling some kind of way, we'll stuff that we take twice a day, we'll take it 3 times a day. You know, we'll step it up and stuff. Don't ignore them symptoms, you know, and you be chasing them. You know,
Yeah.
just do a
Yes.
little extra. Do a little extra.
Okay, y'all, I didn't realize we were past 3:30.
Yep.
So I'm gonna get the what I'm gonna get is I'm gonna post the live stream for the Bible study. Those of you that want to join us, and we'll be listening to another Brother L throwback. I know he put out a new video today. I don't know if any of you got to watch it, but when you get a chance, go over there and watch it. And more than likely, we'll get started at 4:30. So just be on the lookout for that. I'm going to post it as soon as we're done here.
Okay. All right.
Okay, y'all. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. I do appreciate it. We'll definitely do this again. We're going to keep up with Larry Elder. And I have True Royal on because she's right there in California. And so she knows a lot about what's going on right now.
All right.
All right, y'all.
See y'all in a bit. Bye-bye.
Okay. Shalom, family.